Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you what I wish I knew before I started homeschooling. So if you want to see this, stick around. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom of 5. I like to do videos on homeschool, motherhood, organization, and DIY. And I try to put out a video at least once a week, and sometimes I even have bonus videos that come out. So if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing below and don't forget to hit the bell button so that you get notified when they come out. So today I have 9 things that I want to share with you that I wish I knew before I started homeschooling. The first thing that I wish I knew before I started is that every child has a different learning style. Not every child learns the same. You know, God created us all to be so different and learn different. So what might work for one child is not going to work for another. Knowing your child's learning style is really important so that you know what type of curriculum to pick for them. I have a whole separate video on the different types of learning styles. So if you want to check that out, you can check it out in the iCards above. The second thing I wish I knew is homeschooling styles. I didn't even know there was different ways that you could homeschool. For me, I was public schooled, so I really thought that you just set up a classroom in your house, or not even a classroom, you just sit at the table and they just do their work and that's it. You just give them some papers, they do their work, and that's it. I didn't know anything about homeschooling when I first came into it. The Holy Spirit was the one that led me to do it, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. But I just obeyed, and then I learned things along the way. And knowing what type of homeschooler you are is going to save you so much time, energy, and money, because you will not purchase things or waste time on things that you know is not fit for your family. Every family is so different, and that is the beauty of homeschooling, is that you can tweak your homeschool to fit you and your family's needs instead of the other way around. I have a whole separate video on homeschool style. So if you want to check that out, I will also leave that in the iCards. Number 3, it doesn't have to look like traditional school. You do not have to have a classroom in your house. This room I'm in is actually technically our school room. We don't even school in here. I think I'm going to be making this room into something else, or kind of trying to fix it a little bit better to be able to school in here. But right now we actually homeschool at our kitchen table. And you know, it doesn't have to be like sit down and do your work and this and that and just do things the way that traditional school does it. I feel like this is where I got stuck. I literally had the mindset that it had to be just like, you know, an elementary school. If you went to an elementary school, that's how homeschool is supposed to look like. And it stressed me out. So knowing that is just so freeing. Number 4. Homeschooling is more than just bookwork. Yes, bookwork is important, and you know, we need textbooks and stuff to teach through it, but learning happens all throughout the day. You can teach a lesson while cooking dinner. You could go for a walk in the woods, and there is science all through that. So once you get out of this mindset of that school is just bookwork, oh my gosh, you will be so free, and you can really incorporate so much more. I feel like now that I have learned this, the ideas and stuff I have to bring inside of our homeschool, they just keep flooding. Like, it's like a flood of ideas. The creativity that's in you as a mom and a teacher and who God has created you to be will be able to flow, I feel like, once you get free from that. Like, you don't have to just learn through a book. You can learn so many ways. Life in general is full of so many experiences. You can take your child to the grocery store, and that's a math lesson in its own. You can teach them how to make a meal plan and how to then take that meal plan and write a list. And then you're taking the list and going to the store, and then you're going to pick out the items, and then you can add up the items. So everyday experiences you can use inside your school. The 5th thing I have learned is that there are seasons. Especially, I have learned this through seasons of babies and toddlers. Oh my gosh. When I first started homeschooling, You know, you can go back and look at my journey. I'll link that in the iCards too. But I have learned so much, and I have been through so many seasons in our homeschooling life. Like, there are seasons if you have to move, if you have a baby, if you have toddlers. Those are all different seasons. Then there's the elementary season, and then the middle school season, which I haven't even got to yet, and then the high school season. So there's so many different seasons in life in general. So it's going to reflect your homeschooling too. So if a bump comes up in the road, do not be discouraged. There are seasons, and you just do what works for your family. Number 6, I already kind of said this, but I'm just gonna say it again. Every family is different, and what works for one family might not work for your family, and that's okay. And because that goes along with the homeschool styles. Like, your style might not be the same as someone else's style. Not only is every family different, but don't compare yourself to someone else's family, because we all are different. God created us to be different. He created us to be unique. He created us to not look the same. Everybody has a different fingerprint, okay? So if everyone has a different fingerprint, you can just imagine all the different personalities. And don't compare, because when you compare yourself to another family, and don't compare your child either. Do not compare your child to someone else. If someone else's kid looks like, you know, maybe their kid looks like they're excelling faster than your kid, do not compare your child. And you don't want to, and if you have multiple kids, you don't want to compare your children with each other. Comparison is going to rob your joy in homeschool. Let your children go at their own pace. Remember, we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. The great thing about everyone having strengths and weaknesses is where someone might be weak, someone who is strong in that area can come and help them in their weakness. You know what I mean? So do not compare yourself or your children. Number 8, if you think you're not doing enough, you probably are. I'm telling you, I feel like this all the time. I'm like, am I doing enough? Are my children learning enough? Listen, I have people come up to me and be like, your 9-year-old talks like an adult. And I'm like, he does? Thank you so much for telling me that. Like, I have people say stuff like that to me all the time. Wow, I feel like I'm talking to an adult. Or, wow, he is so mature. And because I'm with him all the time, I might not see that. And the last thing I wanted to share with you is you can use curriculum loosely. Oh my gosh, this is so freeing. You do not have to do it how it tells you. Yes, I know that they have things that they tell you to do because it's part of their curriculum and it's gonna help. But if something is not working in that curriculum for your family, you don't have to do it. I used my father's world, and it came with, I mean, a ton of stuff. You do science, history, there was Bible in it, there was music and art. I think there was a couple other things too, I just can't remember. But we did not do art. I started to try and do everything, and then I got so overwhelmed, and then I knocked off art and music. And I was like, we're just not doing this. And we still got everything we needed from that curriculum. It was great at the time, but we did not have to do it all, and it is okay. Like, don't feel bad. And you know what? Here's a bonus one. This, I can't believe I forgot about this. Number 10, I know this was only 9 things, but number 10 is, this is a bonus one. If you buy a curriculum and it doesn't work for your family, it's okay. That's fine. Do not feel guilty about it, okay? We have probably, all of us homeschoolers have done it. Especially I feel like when you're a new homeschooler, everything catches your eye and you're like, oh, that's so beautiful. And then you use it and you're like, I hate this. I have done that. I have bought curriculum just because it was beautiful. And that's another one too. Don't buy curriculum just because it's beautiful. Don't let that catch your eye and then you're like, for real. I'm telling you, I have done this. I have bought curriculum because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And then I buy it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is totally not realistic for my family. I had bought a Becca 2s and 3s and it was gorgeous. I loved that, like how they laid it out and everything. I was like, this is gonna be so much fun. And then I realized this is not fit for my family. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wasted all this money. But praise the Lord, he showed me how I can still use bits and pieces of that curriculum, but I don't have to use it like they say I had to. But those are my 9, or I guess I should say 10, or was it 11? I don't know. those are just some things that I wish I knew before I started homeschooling. My question for you today is, if you are a homeschooler, what are some things you wish you knew before you started homeschooling? Leave it in a comment below. I would love to know. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like content like this, consider subscribing below. And don't forget to hit the bell button so that you're notified every single time I upload a video. All right, guys, have a blessed day. Is, you know, full of so many experiments. Let your children go at their own pace.